So when you see the car, there's a bunch of relays and everything that need to start up. This is what I was hoping to take.
Okay.
Just
If I need another type, that's fine.
okay, but you do. You need a two-way intercom system to have like a passenger conversation.
Okay.
This is a one-way out to another
Okay.
radio station. When you see the car is when you can go ahead and flip your ignition if you're ready to do something like that. There's a bunch of relays that need to start in order for it to go. All right, so your display button is going to be here, bottom. This will just scroll through all your pages. You can see here race 1, race 2, and the difference between race 1 and race 2 specifically looks at fuel versus some of the other vitals from the engine.
Okay.
Lap time and all that's not going to be necessary for you. What you might end up using would be brake bias. So if you are in the rain or something like that, you want to take it away from the rear so you don't just accidentally loop it into something.
Okay.
And it's simple. You just start twisting this, and it tells you exactly where it is. You see that?
Okay. Okay.
And it goes down in quarter increments, but it'll tell you which direction it's rolling.
Okay.
Towards the front or towards the rear. And it's just this red knob on this side of these this panel, which you can't see from there. Over here where you see like ABS, DIM, ATH, and MUL, the ABS is going to be your ABS setting. So you can grab this inside wheel here and just twist it, and it'll bring over a selector, and you can select which one you're trying to modify. Then you use the opposite side to change the actual setting. You see
All
that?
right. So ABS 1 to 3, what's the difference?
It's 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Yeah, so you're going to see 10 being the most assistance, and then you're going to see 1 as the least assistance.
I would say on the street, 10 is what I would need, like to be a normal.
I mean, it
Because
just
if it was on 1, like it was hard to stop the other day.
it's not going to that's not going to change.
That's
The
not-
amount of brake pressure that you need. So one of the things that's pretty cool about this stuff is the ABS itself will not turn on and activate until it sees 750 pounds of pressure on the line.
That's why. So it just takes more pressure.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was pushing, I was like, woo,
So
it takes some pressure.
it's on race 1. Let me see here. It's been a minute. I haven't driven it since November, so it's going to take me a second. If you okay, so because the ignition isn't on and whatever, you get to these will pop up and it'll show you the actual brake pressure as the bias is applying it, right? But so, yeah, it's pretty neat. And so it's just one of those like momentary deals that when you get actual pressure into the pedal, that's when the display will change on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And you'll be able to actually get a visual representation of how much pressure you're applying,
Okay.
so you kind of get an idea.
Right.
But I'm telling you right now that after a full day of racing and or track day experience or any time that you're on the track for a couple hours of runtime, if your leg isn't sore at the end of the day,
Right.
and or you're some like phenomenal athlete, I mean, I don't go to the gym anymore.
No.
You know, like
I do, but I'm not a phenomenal.
so, you know, if you don't have some sort of soreness or whatever, then
Yeah.
you know that you weren't on the pedal hard enough.
Perfect. I ain't gotta do legs.
This thing will do like 1.6, 1.7 G's in braking.
Okay. And what's that compared to a normal car? What's the difference?
Almost double.
Oh, okay.
Like you're like a McLaren, you have a 720, right?
Yeah, they stop.
I've not driven a 720, I've driven a 750, and I've done like 1.6, 1.5, and a
stop.
750. They're pretty sick. My Z06 will only do about 1.4.
Okay.
But a regular car, double. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So, also, whenever you have the car sitting for a long time, until you figure something out with the motor, but in its current state, the way that the motor is, you need to just like anything else that's kind of wound up tight, you want to build your oil pressure. So you can cycle the starter in this phase with the ignition off, build some oil pressure, and then put the ignition on and then fire it up, and it'll be good to go.
Is it common practice to get it spinning and then put the ignition on? No.
You can just stop the cycle and then begin the ignition. There's just a bunch of extra stuff that turns on, so you wouldn't want to interrupt a signal with the starter with all the other stuff just turning itself on. Some of it takes a second.
I know, like with some of the monster trucks I was building, that's how we'd get the engine spinning and then turn the ignition on,
Interesting.
because otherwise it'd blow the starter off the block.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I haven't had that experience, but let me just turn it on for a second. I want to see if the brake pressure will apply. Yeah, there you go. So now you can see how much brake pressure is in place. This is this isn't a percentage, and I'm like using
Okay.
leverage to get to 100.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So if I have to like if I'm not
Yeah.
actively driving and there's not kinetic energy to put extra weight on the front to
Right.
help with me, I can't get to 100% without leverage.
Right.
So that's how
I
hard
see.
you have to use the pedal.
Okay. That makes sense now.
Your rain light here in the back for weather, pretty simple. You just press it, it'll tell you rain light on,
Okay.
and then you can actually see that it changes to a darker blue hue than the the
Okay.
backlight. Nothing doesn't work. Okay,
Okay.
so the hazard lights that I saw in the video
We
when you
had
were
'em on.
driving, that means you stalled it. So anytime you stall it, by default, as a safety feature, the hazard lights flick themselves on. So when you get rolling,
Not me. I didn't install it. What are you talking about?
Never.
Never.
when you get yourself going, just press it again, and then it'll shut them off. Real simple. And this is what I was telling you on the phone, that it could be as simple like you could find a place for a switch, because turn signals are in place and they both operate well. You just don't have any sort of direction to them. So for legality purposes or whatever, if
I
you
don't
wanted to
even
try,
care. I'll take the ticket.
there you go. These option 1, 2, and 3, none of that it really applies. There are 4 additions in the PMU. The wet tire is built-in traction control. We
I
didn't.
put it on the fans. Could I turn that on for
Can you
fans
turn
all
that
the
steering
time?
Wheel 90 degrees so we can film the buttons.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about?
Appreciate it.
Is that better for you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna come back to that one.
Okay. Okay.
The fan is here, and I'm gonna show you here. When you press the fan, this is pretty good. This is what I was telling you, how I can be not uncomfortable. I'm not cool, but I'm not uncomfortable in a car with a suit, helmet, balaclava, everything. So you just press it once.
And he's in Florida.
You got to have all their stuff on, and I mean, put your hand in here.
Yeah, I had him on. So yeah.
So you press it again, and then it says both. That's windscreen and driver. And then you press it again, and it's just screen, and then it cycles off. That is, when you're going, it's really comfortable air. I don't really have any other way to explain it. It's good enough. I'm also not in the car for 6 or 7 hours at a time, though. So that'll
And
be
you're moving.
Yeah. But if you're in the car, you're going to be moving too. Hopefully, you're not at stoplights too often.
Try not to be.
The wet tire one here, you'll have to, if you want to do it, it's traction control. This car doesn't have traction control. It is an upgrade that's very simple. It's one of those things with the ECU, like you need a code to unlock the ECU, which Porsche will not hand out. It's the same deal, a code to turn on the traction control features. And then you'll have different amounts of traction control. It'll show up right underneath the ABS, and you'll have 10 settings. And when you have traction control, like even your McLaren or anything else, Motorsports traction control and Motorsports ABS are probably 50x the efficiency of a street unit in any capacity that you find. So,
'Cause y'all keep going in the rain. Y'all don't stop.
no, heck no. When you've been doing it a long time, you can do it. But the series in Carrera Cup did not and does not allow traction control, but Super Cup does. So, and now in 2026, they allow traction control. So the previous cars, they didn't have it, but they put it in there to be unlocked for the future if you want it. It's I believe, $3,500. I can request the code from Porsche Motorsports North America. This car is still registered to me and with PRSI, and it's just like they'll send me a code. We get the Porsche computer, you plug it in, and then it's turned on immediately. It's just like simple, something like that. Your fire extinguisher, obviously, your batteries up front.
Yeah, I'm gonna move it so a kid can't pull it. Probably move that.
Let's see, this is your battery cover box.
Go over all the.
I'm thinking about moving the battery behind the seat probably, so the passenger has more room.
Wherever you feel like it's comfortable and the cables in reach.
should be fine, right?
You have these safety stands in this box, so when the car goes up on air jacks, you just slide these around the cylinders that come down, the legs that come down,
That's what they're for. Okay.
and then you pull the air out so they don't rest on the cylinders themselves, they rest on the safety stands that are in here.
Okay.
There's also a fuel pump out hose. The fuel pump out is directly in the back. It's a low hanging piece on the driver's side of the rear engine. Real easy. If you run 98, and even if like one of the suggestions I was going to say, kind of like a short term, would be like get Boostane into 93, put a 55-gallon drum in a truck and drive with it, and or carry it with you, and then like a paint cup to measure out, and they got a little calculator on their phone. Be a short-term thing to get you going to bring up the octane.
Boostane. Just,
What is boosting?
it's just a like octane booster in a bottle.
It's essentially methanol. It looks like varnish. It's like methanol in a can, and it's got a calculator that you
Well,
can
let's
put on
hope
your
we got a
phone.
gas gauge.
Yeah. So the gas.
I got to figure the mile an hour when I run out of gas, or the miles when I run out of gas.
So here's what you're gonna do for that.
How do y'all know when you need fuel?
Right here. So you see the fuel used at 228. This is how many per lap, fuel pressure, etc. Fuel level 69.9. It's kind of a percentage there. Okay. And you're gonna press it and hold acknowledge, which is the red button here, ACK for acknowledge. If you press and hold it, it's gonna reset the fuel used, and you're gonna try and yeah, you're gonna try and measure as it goes down. You know what I mean? So you're gonna know that I get X amount of whatever this is,
You got stuff. Every
miles or
time.
kilometers, based on the level. So you got your fuel level here. It's just not the most accurate thing in the world. Plus, you have scavenger pumps at the bottom of the tank that fill a bowl that is like a level up, and then it pulls everything from there. So if you get to a point that's really low, and let's just say that you're in a high-speed sweeping corner, like
200 miles and fill up.
if you make 200 miles, I'll be really
Yeah,
impressed.
130.
Somewhere
Oh,
around
really?
there. And it just, well, you know,
On 27 gallons?
you're probably getting
My
somewhere.
Porsche got like 300 and something with 27 gallons.
It's a different Porsche.
Figure 3.5 to 5.5, maybe 7 max. Like if you're going 60 miles an hour, 55, you might get 7. If you're in it every once in a while, plan on 5.5. Why is everything Porsche tax, man? Porsche
Might as well
tax.
We
burn
put
them
a
up.
trailer hitch on it. You pull a fuel trailer.
Yeah, right? You think
That
I'll
would
do
be
good at
sick.
150?
I'll drive that tanker.
That would be sick.
Don't tell him, Josh. That'll be your next project.
Dude, it would be hilarious.
Build a fuel trailer.
I think it'd be great.
This here is your air lance. This goes, you hook it up to nitrogen. You need about 400 pounds. I think I described
You
it
said
to you on the
eased
phone.
into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Eased the
So
pressure
throw
into that.
400 pounds on a bottle, and then on the hose side, just turn it up nice and slow, and you'll hear the jacks come down. You'll see the front lift once, and then the back will come up after that. And then, you know, you might be at 350, 380, but, you know, quick up, quick down, 400 both sides. You don't have to worry about it dropping from a height. It's what it's built to do. Once you got this in and the car goes up, you can remove it. It's just a spring-loaded piece on here. You just pull it right out, and then the car will hold the pressure. And it doesn't release the pressure until you pull out on the nipple on that side of the car, which I'll show you in just a minute.
Perfect.
This is for the transport hooks. Are they here? Yeah, here they are. So these are the D-ring transport hooks. So if you need to put it in a trailer or anything like that, definitely don't put anything through the wheel, and definitely don't, just don't put anything through the wheel or over the tire. Put these on. Yep, just take the ones that are on off and put these on, and then you have this massive D-ring to hook into with some sort of S hook or something like that.
So that pretty much is what holds the wheel on.
Yep.
You thread it on.
Yeah, correct. And everything is, your center lock on your GT3 would have been the same. Everything's left-hand thread.
Now I got to take a giant torque wrench with me.
Yes, you do.
Womp, womp.
So this is like the adapter for that, right? These will hook onto the end of the D, and then you can turn it, twist it on and off.
Now, what about the tool to take the wheel off?
I brought it for him. It's somewhere wherever he placed it. ABS sensors, because some places want ABS and some don't. This is just like the dead plug that goes in the hole in the chassis, so you don't get rain in here if you ever pull out the ABS stuff.
Where's that going up here?
You'll have to follow the actual wire where it comes through in the firewall. It's somewhere over here.
No.
I don't know what he's talking about on there.
So it's just where the wires come through the chassis for the ABS. So if you pull out the ABS where the ABS sensor is, then you can put a plug in place so there's no water that comes through the chassis.
We're leaving it.
It's just here if you need it. This is an extra ABS bridge that's in here. This is really kind of just for electronics to be able to connect to the ABS module, which is separate from the Porsche module. Not something that you'll need individually, but if you ever have to work on the ABS system and somebody has a Porsche computer to help you, you'll need this piece.
Okay.
Is there any any active stuff on this, like active suspension or aero or? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Pretty dumb stuff for the street car. Like the street car has, for the race car, it's dumb stuff. For the street car, you have like the DRS and all of that. You don't get that. I'm sure it could be retrofitted at a price. It's not like you don't have enough places or options to wire something to. Option 1, 2, and 3 on here is going to be eligible for use. It is just PMU, so you can get in there and then you just got to connect to the PMU and then code everything incorrectly, and then your buttons should function however you designed it to work. It's just like any other PMU you can create. If this, then that. Pretty simple stuff. What other? Do you have any other specific questions while we're in here?
I'm just trying to think.
What about one of the things we loosely talked about was the potential of putting an electric AC system in this.
Yes.
Would the alternator support that kind of load?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. So there's a motorsports specific unit. It's very pricey, but it's all electric and it works. There is another option. You can find them out there from like NASCAR teams. They're old McLaren F1 alternators that are all of the simple electric drive ones like we're on here. And they just have extra high output, smaller pulleys, stuff like that. And then you might have to do a little bit of...
Do you know what the amperage is on?
Not off the top of my head. I brought a book that is the entire Cup manual, and it'll have all of your specifications as well as certifications, design points, pressure points, like how everything goes for the roll cage, fuel cell, electronics, everything. It might be in German. I might have a...
Cool. No, that's great. I'll just go home and study.
I might have an American version
The only word I know in German.
somewhere. I might have them.
Shazakov, you know what that means?
No.
Shithead. My grandpa.
Hell yeah.
Shazakov my whole life, and at 13 years old, I figured out what it was. She was calling me a shithead. And she was right.
They usually are.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you get a gearbox alarm, that's what the gearbox exclamation point is down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you can reset it.
What is the gearbox alarm, and why would you get it?
You would potentially get it for like if a potentiometer was failing, if there was some sort of voltage variation that was outside of nominal value, heat, too many cycles of a failed selection. So you call for a gear and it doesn't come X amount of times, it'll indicate a gearbox alarm. And the only way to get it out of limp mode is to press that essentially.
Brian, you should have bought the team too.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need one of those. Just buy a team.
Just buy anything. I mean, I guess Tanner should have come with the car, really, to be honest with you. That'd be nice.
How much?
So you got a question on driving. So
Yeah.
obviously put it in first gear, let the clutch out and go. So when I'm coming to a stop, shift all the way down to first. When I shift to neutral, push the clutch in. Over. That's pretty much. So clutch is just in neutral and when you go to first.
I mean, if you're out there on the street and let's say that it's kind of like not an abrupt stop, but it's like, oh shit, there's a yellow red light happening. I gotta get to it, kind of like a spirited drive, spirited stop, so to speak. Just push the clutch in. You can call it. It's not gonna hurt anything by
That's
pressing
what
the
I was
clutch.
wondering. Roger told me like it might.
When you're driving and there's actual load on the box and the engine together, the timings are built that you can hurt it that way. But if you're pushing the clutch in and the revs have come all the way down, you can go up and down the gears without problem.
Okay.
You're not going to hurt yourself by doing that.
'Cause that had me thinking
It's
a lot.
not
you
something
know.
that you're going to want to do all the time, just because when one depression in the clutch stops the entire rotating assembly in the clutch packs. And sometimes with dog ring boxes, they're so thick that they don't want to just find everything. So the more times you go down and up the gears without actually having them move, more opportunity you give yourself for a chip or something like that.
Okay.
And then that just turns into
Makes
something
sense.
else. Trying to think. Your pit speed limiter works. It's really very cool for a lot of people when they're driving by. Your lights flash and your hazards are on, and then you put your foot all the way to the floor, and it'll keep it at 59 kilometers an hour, which is about 39 or 40 miles an hour, I think, something like
Okay.
that, which is pit speed for
So
this kind of
cruise
road.
control.
Yeah, there you go.
You said something about a launch thing or something y'all do?
Anti-stall. Yeah,
Okay.
so That's what I was going to say. It looks like there is fuel in the car. I can demonstrate it for you.
Yeah.
And at the same
I
time...
mean, I'll ride over there. I need some dang earplugs.
Yeah, that's all right. And then at the same time, I'm going to touch on this stuff here. Your battery state of charge is really high at 90, which is what it should always be very high. You want to leave this thing on a trickle charger.
I keep everything on a tender, so.
But you
Is
still...
there an easy place to plug a tender in one of these, or?
No,
just
you don't
go-
have, like, the-
I do. Got the little.
Yeah, put the little
My
clips on
McLaren
and then
thing and everything. I got a bunch of them. I got like 6 of those, so those will work on.
that'll work okay. But you still need to, like, if you're going to leave it for months on end, you're going to have to come out here and start it up, put some load into it, drive around the block.
I start my cars or drive them once a week, no matter what.
Very
Like,
good. You won't have any
sleet or
problems.
snow. I just kind of like, McLaren, it has to move. So, I mean, I put at least 100 to 200 miles a week on it.
Okay. You won't have a problem then at all. One thing that you're going to want to do, if you start this vehicle, do not shut it off before you have reached nominal value on your temperatures. If you do that, the crankcase seals will begin to fail, because what will happen is there's so much pressure when the viscosity is so thick in the oil before the temperature can thin it back out. There's so much pressure in the crankcase and those seals are so light and finicky that you'll pop a crankcase, like a camshaft seal, out because you've left so much
So
pressure
we move
on
this
it.
in and out in the parking lot. We need to let it warm all the way up.
Yes.
And what's a good 80 Celsius or?
Yeah, so right here, you have visual representation on your screen. There's blue, green, yellow, and red, and
Okay.
purple.
So we're about to be playing with all of that, trying to make this thing run cool with fans. So if it's hot, don't shut it off.
No, shut it off if it gets to 100, obviously. Yeah, it's got
It depends on, it really depends on what you're doing. So if you're just sitting here in the shop and it gets hot, then yeah, shut it off. If you're out there on the road and there's like massive potential for thermal heat soak, then that's a different story. You might want to run it down around the block at very low RPMs to keep the air moving, right? To bring the temperatures down. But be mindful. Like,
I'm just thinking, like, okay, we go drive it, and then we get caught up in some traffic jam, and the fans aren't super effective or something. It just starts stacking heat. Now what? The whole thing's soaked.
don't go where there's lights.
I hear you.
Build a plan and then execute your plan.
Can't shut it off.
You can, yeah. But if you're in a place that you're stuck somewhere, then you need to be mindful of everything, right? You like be at 100% alertness. And if you get to a point to where you're at 95, 98, 99 degrees Celsius, your next move is the moment that traffic gives you the space, and or never pull up so far that you don't leave yourself an out to get to the side of the road, flip the hazards, shut the car off, and let it go. Let it wait. You have a dyno. You can do most of this here on a dyno. You have, I'm sure, large fans to put the air in. I would do the majority of the work using those. And then application execution on the
I mean,
road.
ultimately, I just need to get this thing to sit and idle and not overheat at idle. That's my own job. Like, it doesn't overheat when it's driving now.
No.
So
And it runs very
I
cool.
stayed at 81 to 86. Is that pretty good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see.
That's like 185, 190, right?
Yeah, so 225 Fahrenheit is the
100.
absolute threshold. You want to be shutting things off probably somewhere between 212, 215, depending on the outside stuff.
Will it swap to Fahrenheit or will it stay at?
At this point, there's not like a simple arrangement to do that. We'd have to put a Porsche computer on it and then
I've
flip
looked
it.
at it and figured it out. If it gets to 100, I'm done. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yep, absolutely. And just leave yourself an out in traffic if you're in it. The other thing was, if the state of charge gets below 30%, it will disconnect all of the electronics from the battery in self-preservation mode. And you will have to just call me if that happens, because it's not something I can just show you how to do right here, right now. You have to jump the battery. Like like a tender and a battery pack and a starter pack.
Okay.
And then you essentially jump it, and then you watch it go from 30. You charge the battery first, then you watch it go from 30 to 90 really quickly. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if you've ever had to do that with a lithium-ion battery.
don't let it go dead. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
I'll bring y'all my tenders and y'all the little one.
Yeah,
And it won't be in your way because it's so little.
Yeah, okay.
in the manual, you'll have all your thresholds for like potentiometers and degree positions and stuff like that. There is vital signs. There are, like, for
Can you
instance,
scroll through the menu? That was the bottom right button.
yeah, the one that says DIS for display.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty simple. Function, display, reverse, acknowledge. This is radio. This is a flashing of your high
Oh, I
beams.
thought that was do a kickflip.
Yeah, see, this is like your push to pass, so it flashes all your beams at people. Your pit speed limiter,
You hold that or you just press?
you just keep pressing it. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to use that.
Pit speed, and then you've got a big, huge green threshold here, and then this will again be 59 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
This is to like mark something. So if you're trying to have manual lap times or your timer isn't working because there's a beacon somewhere, you press mark and it'll start a lap time thing for you on the other pages. This is to like wipe data, and then you're back to
Does
the.
this data log, does it always data log? Yeah.
Yep.
So
I don't know how.
Runs out
I
of
can't
memory,
remember
or-
exactly how much the memory is.
Yeah.
So you'll end up with several hours of the most recent several hours. So it'll constantly push out the old stuff
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
write on the new. So you don't have to like
Cool.
delete and do
So if
it.
there's ever a problem, we can pull up the logs. And be like,
100%.
because you ran out of oil, idiot.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see.
Checking the oil in this car, is it the same as...
Yeah, checking the oil is.
Does it have a dipstick or not? No.
No.
Is it in there?
Yes, it's similar. So it's just electronic versus.
Is it when it's running eye to eye, like my car?
Yeah. So see how the oil level's at 1%?
Yeah.
We know for sure that it's not at 1%. The way that you check this is you run it up to temperature and bring it to the high side of temperature, between 90 and 97 degrees Celsius. Drive it around the block, and I bet you it pops to 100. Otherwise, when you do your oil changes and stuff, just follow the specifications to the T. You should be fine. There's several.
Same oil I was putting in my GT3, or is this different?
The stuff that Roger recommends is different, and it does have better heat dissipation, but it's also twice the cost. So,
That doesn't... I mean,
if you're gonna,
if you're doing all this shit, then, you know...
yeah. So I just ask Roger what kind of oil you want, and say, where do I get it, and do whatever that way. It's this crazy blue stuff, so it makes any particles really nice and easy to see. Anytime you do oil, put it in a blue pan. Makes the particles easier to see. Don't be surprised when you see pieces in the oil.
Yeah,
Did he talk to you about that?
anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So don't be surprised when you see pieces in the oil. There's a plasma lining that lines the cylinders. It breaks down over time. You will see small chunks. Pull it out, touch it, make sure it's not a chunk of metal.
Right,
But you'll see lining in it, and that's completely normal. And then the filtration does a great job. So you cut open your. I know this is wildly different in it, but it's always out of an abundance of caution. Cut open your filters every single time, stretch them all the way out, look at everything, and just. It's inevitable that the first time that you don't do that is the time you miss something. You don't need to send out your oil samples. You just need to be paying attention to the contamination level in the filter, and so on and so forth. That's all. Yeah. Fuel pressure, always 5. Could dip 4.7, 4.6, but come back to 5. 5 is your number.
5 bar.
5 bar.
I was like,
Yeah, not 5 pounds, sorry. Oil pressure, somewhere around, I want to say 6 or 7. 8. It runs somewhere around between 80 and 100 pounds.
Okay.
So it's between that 6-7 mark when you're running. Yeah, temperatures we've already discussed. Look through the books and try and just get familiar with the values. So if you ever have a problem with like the clutch or something like that, that you can kind of just refer to your vitals page, and you'll see that something is out of wonk with one of the settings. The voltage could be incorrect, a degree position could be off, and that'll indicate that something was knocked and or something come apart and then moved one of the sensor that's supposed to be doing the reading, which is why the electronics are keeping you from getting what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. The dimmer, all these stuff is how you move it with the left wheel, you change the value with the right wheel. The DIM is the dimmer on the dash, so if you're driving at night, this can be pretty bright. You might want to dim it down. The ATH, which we didn't talk about, is the throttle map. It's on 2, which is an aggressive one for the racetrack. You may want something a little bit more linear for driving it on the street, which is simple, just change it to 1. But preference, for sure. I think that's probably
I got to get used to the car before
What
I
about the
start
little
adjusting.
spinning
Babe.
knobs on the wheel?
yeah. So that's what I had just mentioned. The,
Okay.
That was.
The-
I'll let you in there and look at that when he does that, so you know.
the
And then what about that red knob on the side of that?
that's the bias, the brake bias.
Yep.
I'll show it to you here.
Channel 3.
Okay, so all your essentially your page values are on the left. So you just scroll down and it'll select which one you
Okay.
want. Okay.
Yep.
And then when you get to one you want, you just use the right one to change the value.
Okay.
So the ABS 10 is the highest, 1 is the lowest on
Got
all
it.
the settings. If I change the display page real quick, so throttle map number 2, we're on aggressive. Okay, so if I come down here and I just do this, see we're on moderate now,
Yeah.
and that's all you get is 1 and 2. So makes it nice and easy for you.
Stay aggressive, baby.
Absolutely, all day. And
We're
dimness
animals.
will just, you can see it just changes the dimness on the,
Yeah. It'll be nice at night.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you hit
I
wet
did not
tire,
think a race
it's
car
going
would
to
be
change
this
it to your wet tire. And this is a different, like the tires that I'm going to give you, they have a different circumference and diameter than the slicks. It's like 3 or 4 millimeters off. But that's enough that after so many revolutions that the ABS will give you an ABS error. So if you put on like a really thick treaded tire, we need to get any tire that you're going to put on here for a rally on the street. We need to get as close as possible. And if we're off, we can find another tire like the Yokohama, the Dunlop, the Michelin, whichever one it is. We need to find the diameter that closely represents the tire you put on there and change it in the settings so it doesn't give you an ABS error after so many revolutions.
So you can change that without the Porsche computer or anything.
Need the Porsche computer.
Oh, you do need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at your, guess what you're buying.
No, I'm not buying a Porsche computer.
Anymore, it's
So I mean,
you can
so
probably
it's
get everything for less than $1,500. It's not that bad.
Really?
Yeah, you don't need the
I'm buying a
10,000.
Porsche computer.
You don't need the $10,000 unit that you're thinking about.
That's exactly what I was
We
thinking.
need like the Bosch MC8, like version 2 that plugs in here, and then that'll also plug into the ECU. So and then you'll get
But as far as, like,
ABS
getting
ECU.
tires-
Can my
all that stuff.
Snap-on one upgrade to that?
No.
No, the Snap-on one doesn't.
You would need a laptop. The cable is the only thing that's expensive.
Okay.
The software is free. I have all the software and I can give you access to it. You just give me your
Perfect.
laptop or I'll put it
Perfect.
on a jump drive and send it to you, one or the other.
Your laptop.
Uh,
You understand that I don't.
It's super easy and it's really intuitive. When you get in there, you go into the ABS menu on the drop down on the left, and then it says which tire are you using.
Yeah.
Michelin, Yokohama, Dunlop, whichever one's in there, and they all have slightly different millimeters for their
So I mean,
circumference.
ultimately, all we really need to do is find a tire that's either the diameter of this or the rain tires.
Yes.
And then we can pick this or rain in the menu,
Absolutely.
and we're
That
done.
is the shortcut that I would do.
That's what we're trying to figure out the sizes, what the tires are.
Oh, so you can get it.
Yeah, no, real simple. I'll start from completely off. Bring your main switch down. Wait until you see the emblem for the little car. Some of the relays and mains don't get anything. As you can see, the steering wheel just fired up. Then you can drop your ignition on. Wait for your page to pop. Make sure you're in neutral. Just go ahead and push your clutch in and then fire it up. No need for any throttle application. It does everything for you. Run yourself to your warm-up page. Now you can release your clutch and let it go.